Hi, you guys. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. It is Thursday, and you know what that means. Thursdays are for thrifting. So I'm going to try to hit up at least one, maybe two thrift stores today. It just depends on what I find to show you guys. As you know, I'm always looking for furniture. Last week I scored two awesome pieces for under $50. But I'm also just checking everything out, anything that would be good for my furniture staging, my home decor, and even items that I just think are so much better bought when thrifted. So let's go. Here is our first stop. You guys have been here before with me. First, I checked out the housewares section. It was pretty slim today. There really wasn't much, and certainly not anything that I was interested in or needed, but I always like to check it out and check out the prices. These little goblet thingies were unique and only 75 cents each, but yeah, nothing that I felt needed to come home with me today. So let's head back and see what they have for furniture. First, I spotted this little side table for $35. That was, I don't know, I thought a bit too high. It was very cute, loved the legs, but not paying $35 for that. Here is a set of side tables, very kind of outdated in my opinion. They had laminate tops. Not really a huge fan of this style. They were only $15 each, and that definitely is not a bad price, especially if you're looking for practice. Then there was this like kitchen table, I guess, and it had already been stripped. It was only $45. And while I don't do dining sets or tables anymore, this one would probably be pretty easy. It just needs a good sanding. There was a stain on the top. Not sure if you'd be able to get that out or not, but that is actually a really good price for a solid wood table that's already been stripped for you. Okay, let's head to the next thrift store. You guys, the first thing that I saw was this. Oh my gosh, it's $20. I could not believe my eyes. If you know me or have been around for a while, you know that buffets are my favorite type of furniture to work on, and I don't think I've ever seen one for $20. Yes, it does need a lot of work, but I am up for it. I could not believe it. I just finished one that's very similar. It turned out so beautiful. I got that one on Facebook Marketplace for $75, and I thought that was a steal. I'll show you a picture of it next, and I hope to have a full YouTube video on that coming soon. Next up is this piece. It looks like a vintage dry sink. It was $40 and it was previously painted. Now, typically I do not take on previously painted pieces because they are just so much work. And can you guys believe that this is more than that buffet? I couldn't. And this one also, you guys, it was painted all over. Inside the cabinet, inside the drawers. This was a big no thank you for me, but it was cute. One last stop for the day. Let's see what we can find here. The first thing I saw is this dresser. It's very outdated. It was $48. It had a laminate top, very outdated, and in my opinion, ugly hardware. The drawers were not dovetailed. It was very big. I don't know. I just have no interest in this piece. Honestly, even if it were free, it's not a super high quality piece. It would be a lot of work. So that was a no for me. If it were free or much cheaper, it would be a very good piece to practice on. Okay, moving on. You guys, this thrift store always has a huge selection of dining tables. And like I told you from the first thrift store, I don't do dining tables anymore. They are a lot of work, they take up too much space, and I really just don't enjoy them. But I always take a look just to see what they have. And it was funny because this thrift store, I swear, had tables from every different decade. It was like you know, a walk through time or something like that. They had very vintage looking tables. They had retro style. They had more modern. There was like some like 80s or 90s style. See that octagon shape? Yeah, so it was definitely fun to look at, but I am not interested in any of these. Look at that style, you guys. Very, very retro. I feel like I remember my great grandparents, maybe my grandparents, having a set like this, but yeah. Fun to look at, not fun to work on. No thank you for me. Here's a glass top table with some metal chairs for $185. I thought this one was funny. It was like a card table, gaming table, something like that. And I just loved all the fake fruit on there. Totally appropriate, right? But yeah, I sometimes, like in the summer, they will have outdoor sets that I'm interested in, but today, nothing for me. Can you believe this, you guys? Another Jacobean buffet. 2 in 1 trip. Granted, they were at 2 different thrift stores, but I don't think this has ever happened to me. This one was in much better condition, but it was also much higher priced. It was $150. I don't think that's a bad price. I typically like to stay around $100 or under. I may have paid $150 for this. I would have had to give it a further inspection, but I cannot believe that I found 2 Jacobean buffets in 1 thrifting trip when I haven't seen one in ages. Unreal. I did not get this one, but let me show you a few that I've done in the past. I just think they are so beautiful and I love working on them, and I feel like they're such versatile pieces. Here's the next piece that I found. It's a mid-century modern tall boy listed for $45. It had a laminate top. That's okay, they can still be painted. This one did have a maker's mark. It was one I wasn't super familiar with. I loved the unique hardware. The drawers were dovetailed and in pretty good condition, and $45 is not a bad price at all. And then I walked around the corner and saw that they had the matching lowboy, also listed for $45. So you could get this matching set for $90. I didn't purchase this today, but I really did like it. And I love the unique hardware and the look of these mid-century modern pieces. You don't see them all that often, and this is a good deal. I guess it was a hard pass for me. Moving around the corner, I saw this vintage vanity for only $38. I absolutely loved the convex and concave mixture of the drawers here. It was super solid. Those drawers were very nice, and I love those feet, even though the veneer was missing. But the problem with these is that they're not in high demand. They're not great sellers for me. And even if you were to separate these and make nightstands, they're very short. You would have to add some legs. This was a pass for me, but $38 sure is a great price for that quality of a piece. Here's a dresser. Looks kind of like 80s or early 90s style. That's what it just reminds me of with that hardware. No dovetail drawers, but it was in decent condition. I wouldn't say it was super solid, but it didn't have a price on it, and I was not interested enough to ask. I loved this vintage dresser. I just love all the detail and the character and charm. This is one that would need a lot of work. There was a lot of veneer damage. The drawers did not work great, but it was only $40. So for that price, I might be up for the challenge. I just don't have the space, and I don't have the need for this right now. You can see here on that bottom drawer, some of the detail was missing, but I loved those legs, loved the hardware, and overall just loved the look of these pieces. And then right next to that was a newer dresser. I would also say this is maybe 70s or 80s, probably 80s. And it did not have dovetail drawers. This one, I think it says $50 on there. Just not interested, not for me. There was this cute little thing on the top though. I thought it would be cute for jewelry or knickknacks. It was $7.50. I don't really have a need for it, but I thought it was cute. I spied this end table for $30. The top is laminate. It's not super high quality. I thought $30 was way too much, but I did like the legs and the detail. And I looked down the way a little bit and I was like, wait, is this a matching one? And sure enough, it was. So at least you could get a set if you were to buy these, but I would probably only pay $30 for the set. Last up, I need to check the antique section in this thrift store. I've showed this to you guys before. It doesn't change all that often, but I always take a walk through just to see if there's anything new or fun. They did have some very pretty rocking chairs. Look at that. And that was in very good condition. This one was super cute as well. And how about these bikes, you guys? I actually have a similar one that I use in my staging, and they're so cute. Only $12 each. I didn't buy them. I would have liked to, but I'm trying to cut back on the amount of stuff that I have. This rocking chair was $28. I don't think that's a bad price. I think it's very, very pretty. And here's another rocking chair. I don't know if these were here the last time. Maybe I just missed them. This one was $25. Again, I don't think that's a bad price at all. Okay, so that's about all in this thrift store today, and it was my third stop. So let's go home so I can show you what I got. I am so pleased with this buffet for $20. Like I told you guys, I know it needs a lot of work. I know it's not going to be perfect, but none of my pieces are, nor do I want them to be, especially when they are this old and vintage. I love all of the character and charm. I checked out the back of this piece to see if there was a maker's mark, and sure enough, there was. Just so very cool. Empire Furniture Company of Huntington, West Virginia. You guys are going to have to stay tuned to see this makeover, but yeah, $20, that is a huge score for me. Okay, you guys, I am back home from my thrifting trip. Wow, can you believe that? I found two buffets, two different thrift stores, same style, that Jacobean style, two very different prices. But if you have followed me for a while on my other social media pages, you know that buffets are my favorite type of furniture to work on. I have done several throughout the years. I have a few in my own home. In fact, I just refinished one that will be in a video coming up soon. Anyway, you guys, that second one for $150, not a bad price. I mean, I typically like to stay at 100 max. I may have gone up to 150 for that. I would have had to like inspect it a little bit further. But it seemed pretty expensive, right? Compared to the one previously that we saw for $20, which did come home with me. It's in the back of my truck right now. Granted, it needs more work. It's not going to be perfect. That's okay. That's my style. Perfectly imperfect. But I can't wait to work on it. You'll have to stay tuned for that. A different makeover. But I'm really excited about it. Anyway, you guys, I hope you enjoyed today's thrifting trip. Thanks for coming along with me, and I'll be back next week.